You're listening to Soul Growth with me, Jade Stoner. Here we go beyond performance and surface level success and return to your true source of power, you. When you come home to yourself, when you allow your soul to lead, you access a depth of peace, safety and self-trust that success alone was never meant to fulfill, without losing your edge, ambition or vision. You get to live a life that feels as eternally rich as it looks outwardly impressive, and it begins within you. Hey, and welcome to this episode of Soul Growth with me, Jade Stoner. In this episode, I am getting into some of the truths that people don't really talk about. There's a lot of talk, especially now, more so than ever before, about different spiritual practices and personal growth, going after the things that you want in life and achieving success at the next level. But rarely, if ever, does anybody talk about the side effects of that and what that looks like. And so when you're doing certain things, whether that's some sort of healing with a particular modality, or you start to detox your life, basically, things can come up, and because you're not told these truths, you can end up feeling like there's something wrong with you or like you're crazy. That was definitely my experience years ago, and that is one part of this episode. And the other part is getting into what I touched upon with you in the last episode about portals and solar flares and these times of increased energy that we experience. So these things have always been there. My personal experience is that they are becoming more and more intense over the years, and that's not just me as I become more and more sensitive to energy. I'm a channel, I'm an intuitive, this is my work. And I've also witnessed it and seen it in people that are not channels and intuitives, and where they're not in this line of work, they're not in this world, this is not their thing. And they too have felt the impacts of these times of energetic intensities. But how they interpret it is, I'm just not really feeling myself. I'm starting to come down with something. I'm not sleeping properly, or I'm just sleepy all the time. Different labels, different expressions, but the underlying root all stems from the same thing. So when we experience these portals, these solar flares, it's basically the universe downloading really high frequency energy onto Earth and onto you. And that feels really uncomfortable. It's like a really bright light being shone onto a darker area, a greyish area. It's, if you imagine like when it's pitch black and then somebody puts on the light and it's like, it's just like, turn the light off. That's what's going on an energetic level, on a cellular level in your body sometimes. It feels uncomfortable. It feels foreign. It feels weird. And you're like, the only logical explanation, because when all of this is going on energetically inside of you, your mind is trying to logically interpret what is going on. All that it can come up with is, I must be getting sick. Now, at this point, it is important for me to iterate, although it's kind of comical that I should have to, but hey, this is the world we live in. I am not a medical professional. I am not diagnosing you. And it is important for you to use discernment and your own intuition and listen to yourself. When I share with you what I'm going to share with you through the rest of this episode, you're going to know whether or not this applies to you. You're going to feel it in your body, like your body is just going to know. Some part of you, you're just going to feel like, I just know. If you were to go to a doctor when some of these energetic occurrences are going on, they'd probably try and prescribe you with something or tell you that you're exhausted and you need to rest more, or etc., etc., right? It's the logical trying to be cast onto a spiritual, energetic experience. And we are all spiritual. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. And as you're here listening to this, you probably align with that truth more so than the rest of the population, or you just wouldn't be here. It's like an energetic mismatch, it doesn't work. So, when we're having these solar flares, when the Schumann resonance is off the charts and all of this energy is being downloaded, like I said, might feel uncomfortable, foreign, weird. You might feel like you're coming down with something, and you might find yourself really tired but feeling wired, like you just can't really settle. It's what a lot of people interpret as anxiety. And again, remember, I just said to you, use your discernment. What I have witnessed is that oftentimes it's not anxiety, it is the experience of receiving all of this high frequency. So it's vibrating really, really fast energy, and it's overloading your system. So you feel jittery, you feel anxious, you feel like you can't sit still. It's uncomfortable. But when you start to understand what's going on an invisible level around you and how it impacts you, you can start to unpack it a little bit more. And with time and more discernment, you'll get to know whether it's anxiety or not. I am not an anxious person. It's not something that I would ever describe myself as. But years ago, I would start to have these times of feeling anxious. But at the same time, I knew that it wasn't that. I thought I was crazy, because it's like, well, if it's not that, what is it? But over the years, as I've had these experiences of feeling weird, feeling tired, feeling angsty, then I'll go online or I'll be shown something and it will show me that we're being hit by these intense solar flares, like plummeting at Earth, or there's a solar storm, or there's some portal, some planetary movement, like whatever the thing is. And I'll read the description and I'm like, oh, that's what it is. So that's how I've got to this point. This isn't me making stuff up. This is years of experience, understanding. You may also be experiencing angsty feeling episodes, but not all the time, but at certain times. You may be waking up in the middle of the night, if you're even able to sleep at all. This is what can happen in our systems when the universe is doing its thing. Your body is just trying to compute it all, it's trying to process it all, it's trying to keep up with it all. And high frequency energy is pure. Again, it's that fast moving, high vibrational. And when our body is receiving it, our bodies are denser than that pure light. And so it feels uncomfortable. It can set your nervous system off. It can have you feeling all kinds of things. Again, having the discernment to understand, is my nervous system out of whack? Or is it just because of some things that my body is picking up on and sensing at the moment, even though I don't logically understand it? Your body can move into a bit of a shutdown mode, a slower mode, because it's trying to do all the normal things that you do every day and process all of this energy. And with that high frequency energy that's coming down, it brings a lot of stuff to the surface. That can have you in your feelings. It can have old memories rising up out of nowhere, feeling and experiencing things that you thought you dealt with years ago. I often share that healing isn't a one and done. It happens in layers, depending on what we're able to handle at any given time. Your higher self will never give you more than you can handle. The universe will never give you more than you can handle. So it comes up in layers. And the more you walk this path, the more you move through this journey, the deeper it allows you to go. There are some things that, yeah, you just deal with them once and that's it. But also, if something comes up that you thought you'd handled, that you thought you'd dealt with, don't beat yourself up about it. Just understand, okay, cool, this is coming up. There's something here for me to look at and do the work. These are the kind of things that nobody talks about. There's so much talk about becoming an identity work. But with that comes the unbecoming, the releasing of the old identities. And with that, grief can come up. You may not consciously understand this, but we don't have anything in our lives that aren't serving us at some level. There's a secondary gain to it somewhere. So even though consciously we know that this pattern, this habit, this whatever isn't serving us anymore, the fact that it's still a part of us is because it's perceived to be familiar, safe. So when your higher self steps in, when your soul steps in and says, no, we need to move this, and you start to move it, it's natural for there to be a grief that comes up because you're losing a part of who you were. You're losing something that served you for so long. This is part of the purging. And purging happens physically and emotionally. So part of the physical purge, part of the physical release, some of the things that I've witnessed over the years in myself and in others is yawning. I know that when I'm working through something and I start yawning, like over and over, my body is releasing. It's letting go of old energy. Same with sneezing. If I sneeze, guarantee you it's not just once. There is a whole series of sneezes that come up and I'm left afterwards feeling discombobulated and just a bit out of sorts. I know that I'm releasing something. It's my body's way of releasing old energy at a cellular level and it's gone. Wind is another physical purge, whether it's coming out the top or the bottom. Tears, crying, that is a physical release. It's an emotional release as well, but it's a physical act. You might feel like you're sick. So I have felt a lot over the beginning of 2026. And I am never ever sick. So it's much easier for me to discern what is going on. So last week, I noticed that my nose felt slightly blocked. I had a headache and my throat felt a bit kind of weird. Now, if I didn't know what I know now, I would be thinking, oh, I'm coming down with something. But because I know that I don't get sick, when I have these symptoms, I know that my body is purging. I know that my body is releasing. It's going through a process. It's clearing out and just trusting it. And it was actually those couple of weeks ago when I had those flu-like symptoms and really tired, that's when I was then shown that we were being hit by solar flares, solar winds, Schumann resonance off the scale, like all of the things. And I'm like, oh, that's why I feel like that. Okay, cool. And I keep it moving. I'm not trying to create a whole story around it. I just acknowledge it. It's like my spirit team saying to me, you're not crazy. You're good. You're not sick. You're good. Keep it moving. Keep doing what you're doing. You're on the right path. And then it just passes. It's like the beginning of a cold, but it never fully comes to life. During these times, or when you are doing some work where you're releasing old identities and working on and stepping into the energy and the identity of your next level self, you might feel really tired. And that's because your body is trying to process so much that it just needs to rest. And it may not be sleep directly, it may just be unplugging from all devices and just sitting or lying down and being present. You might find yourself irritable, just like frustrated and pissed off for no reason. It's just like it comes out of nowhere. It's like a wave of emotion, it's like a wave of energy washing over you. And my interpretation of that is it's often an energetic frequency, an energetic identity that you carry inside of you, and it's just rising up to the surface and it's washing up over and out of you. If you need to cry in that moment, cry. You might find yourself hungrier than normal. For me, I have found there are times when I'm doing the work that I'll find myself eating and then hungry like an hour later. It can also go the opposite way, and you might find yourself not very hungry. I've experienced that too. You might find your body craving specific foods. This is something that I've started to notice about myself over the past couple of years. When there are certain things going on or I'm moving through certain things, my body will be craving steak, potatoes, vegetables, very specific things. And there'll be other things that I'm just like, the thought of them makes me feel sick. That could be interpreted as the beginning stages of pregnancy. Now, obviously, if you're a man, that's not a thing for you. And I am most definitely not pregnant right now. So it is, again, about that discernment. It's learning to see how your body moves through these different seasons of things that are going on. Emotional symptoms. This can look like becoming irritable and frustrated for no reason. Just out of nowhere, one minute you feel good and the next minute you're like, oh. That could look like the beginning of your period symptoms. Again, discernment. But also understanding that this is part of the emotional purging. The way I see it is like you're going about your business, doing your thing. Your body and your soul are on the inside, they're doing their thing. Having like a little clean out. And they look under the bed, they find something and they're like, no, don't need that anymore. And they fling it out. And that flinging out is your irritability, your frustration rising up to the surface, washing over you to be released. It doesn't need a big story. It doesn't need you to massively understand it. It just needs to pass through you, out of you. If you've released an old version of yourself, you might find yourself not vibing the same things, not attracted to the same kind of things. You might just be very lackluster about it and just like, no. Or it could make you feel a bit like, ugh, like, no. And just notice whether that passes or whether it's because it's part of you elevating and you're moving beyond that thing. You might find yourself lacking motivation. There have been times over the past however many weeks, since the beginning of 2026, that I just can't get it together. I know what I need to do. I have the desire, but it's like it just can't get out. Years ago, I would have fought myself over that. I would have been like, get over it. You need to do it. Push through, force through. And now I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to do that because it comes out crap. Sometimes I end up having to redo the thing, and energy doesn't lie. Like, people feel that. You can probably feel that. There are episodes that I've recorded in the past, particularly around 2021, 2022, like right at the beginning, when I would force myself because it's something that I had to do. That's what I was telling myself. And I'd record it and the content was great, but you probably didn't fully connect with it because I wasn't fully connected with it, because I was doing it from an energy of, I should do this, I need to do this, but I really don't want to do this. Other emotional purging. You might find yourself angry. I have done a lot of work over the years. And in October, I worked with a new mentor and we did some frequency healings. And I was thinking, because I have done so much work already, that it wouldn't impact me as deeply as what was kind of being warned. That was true for a while, and then it hit. I found myself angry out of nowhere. Remember how I shared earlier, like it just washes up and over you? It was intense. I'm not an angry person, but I found myself in moments livid, not for any particular reason. Like there wasn't a specific thing that had happened. I just found myself angry. Sometimes it was angry over an old memory. And what I noticed was I was angry about a thing that I wasn't angry enough about when it happened. And that was just because I didn't have the capacity to be angry. I didn't have the time to be angry. I didn't have the energy to be angry. But it doesn't mean because you don't feel it that it just goes away. That's not how it works. So this anger came up to be released out of me. The same with grief. I found myself just crying, like heart-wrenching, gut-wrenching tears. And I saw it was the layers. Yes, I'd done lots of work, but this frequency work, the more that I did it, so like the first time I did it, it was like, okay, cool. Second time I did it, okay. The more that I did it, the deeper that it went. And it's like it got to the very roots, like the deepest roots of what was inside of me and pulled them up. And with that pulling up came such intense emotions. It was hard. It's some of the hardest, deepest work that I've experienced in years. And I'm freer, I'm clearer on the other side of that. We are always growing, evidently from the energetic weather, even when we don't want to. We're growing when we're moving towards our next level of success, the things that we want in life. You have to unbecome everything that's not a match for that thing to be able to bring it into your life. So it's important to learn how to support yourself because nobody else can do it for you. You have to be there for you. And as I shared in the last episode, this year is not letting up. So it's time to pay attention to your own waves and start acknowledging how you feel, what your body is communicating with you, and honor it as much as possible. You will always get done what you're supposed to do, just maybe not on your timing. So it's very much about learning to surrender and not fight the process. And this is how you move through these purges more effortlessly and more quickly as well. Because when you fight it, you're holding yourself back and you're pushing your next level and your desires further away from you because you've created this resistance, you've built this wall. There isn't any time frame, as in there isn't a set time frame for how quickly you will move through these waves. There's no time frame really on how long these solar flares are going to last. With energy portals, it's slightly different because they come up every month. Remember how I shared with you, it's like 1-1, 2-2, 3-3, and on and on. 2026, slight anomaly to that. There are lots of dates that break down into 1-1-1. So there's lots more energetic portals this year. Another reason that I've said to you, like the universe is not playing this year. Like it's not letting up. So this is why it's important to understand how you are during these portals. Solar flares kind of come out of nowhere. I'm not sure that's scientifically correct, but that's my interpretation of it. They'll just come and they can last for an hour, a few days. Like there's no time frame. And there's no time frame for how long your purge is going to last. Like it's not like, right, well, it's 3:30 on this Wednesday afternoon and this is going to last 24 hours. So I'll clear my calendar for the next 24 hours and then it'll be back. Everything will be back on track and we'll be good. No, it doesn't work like that. This is, again, why you have to learn how best to support yourself through these waves, because whether you want them to or not, they're happening. And whether you want them to or not, they're affecting you, whether it's on a level 1 or a level 10. There isn't a one size fits all. So what works for me may work for you, it may not. What's important is figuring out what works for you. Another thing that's important to share here is what works at one time may not work at the next time. We are constantly growing and evolving and expanding. So whilst a year ago, it might have taken you a salt bath and a 20-minute meditation to move through something, when you try and do those same things now, they may not work for you. You may need 3 baths and an hour meditation. It's kind of like an experiment, and you keep doing the things and you're playing with things and you're experimenting with things until you find what works for you, until you find the energy moves through you. It is literally about learning to go with the flow. And I know as high achievers, top performers, visionaries, like that's not always what we want to hear, but that is the truth. So it is about surrendering. And I think another reason that we experience these uncontrollables is for us to learn to surrender and let go and flow, to not be so rigid, and to understand that it's not just us in this. There is also the universe, our spirit teams, our higher selves. In that letting go, in that surrender, in that going with the flow, we grow as people. And you get to apply that same surrender and flow to all areas of your life. Because gripping on so tightly and trying to control every little thing is unrealistic. I share all this with you after years of trial and error. I've tried to fight it, and that didn't work many times. And so through a process, through years of experiential learning and living, I've learned how all of this works. And I'm now able to move through it faster because I'm not trying to control or brute force my way through it. I'm not trying to ignore how I'm feeling or what my body is communicating with me. And that is the key. All of this is a part of the journey of soul growth and becoming. And to deny it is like trying to deny that growth. And to deny it is like trying to deny that growth is a part of life. Growth is not always comfortable. Like, let's call it what it is. That's another truth that is not shared enough. It's sold as surface level and glamorous, and just do this 3-step prayer, this ritual, this thing, and stick a crystal in your bra and everything will be okay. No, that's usually not the case. The fact that it's uncomfortable doesn't mean you're doing something wrong. And it doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with the process. Seeds break to grow, and we must break away from the things that don't belong with us in our next season of life and success. So how do you move through these intense energetic times? How do you support yourself and take care of yourself? What can you do to make it an easier journey, to make it flow easier? I've done a few episodes about this, so I'm going to give you a quick reminder of those episodes. It's worth going back and listening to them, and I'm also going to share some with you here. So episode 9 was how to take care of your energy inside and out. Episode 13, you're not crazy or sick, you're elevating. And episode 31, Earth's Ghetto right now, 7 ways to take care of your energy. There are lots of things that you can buy. There are lots of things that are marketed and sold as things to support you, but you don't need to spend any money, and certainly not a lot of money, to support yourself. I don't care if you are a millionaire, a multi-millionaire, it's just unnecessary. There's so many unnecessary things out there, and that is a conversation for another time. But for now, the point of me sharing that is just to say, it's the simple things. It's the things that have always been around, that our ancestors used, and that are very accessible. So number 1, ground your energy. What do I mean by that? Take off your shoes, take off your socks, bare feet. If you can get outside and put your bare feet in grass, in sand, on concrete, on something that is the earth, then that is a bonus. If you can go swim in a lake or in the sea, again, winner. If you cannot, or if you don't want to, just take off your shoes and socks in your house and walk around. Your floor is connected to the earth. It is a way of grounding your energy. We are energetic beings. Sometimes we're a bit buzzy. We feel wired because there's all this energy being plummeted down into our systems. Connect with the earth. It will help your body to stabilize and to process that energy easier. Being outside is a win generally. Like, it's just good general practice for a healthy body, mind, and soul anyway, whether you are barefoot or not. So even going for a walk in the woods, by the sea, just even around the block, if that's all you're able to do, just get outside, be in the sunshine. Sunshine is literally vitamin D, literally fills up our bodies, energizes them, and there are so many benefits for spending some time in the sun. Meditate. I haven't shared this with you yet because I was just working on it quietly in the background, but there is an entire Soul Growth YouTube channel, and there is an entire library of energetic and meditative experiences. They've all been created to help you take care of yourself from the inside out. My favorite ones are the musical meditations. So there's a 5-minute version, a 10-minute version, a 20-minute version, a 30-minute version, and a 1-hour version. And they are just instrumental tracks. These are what I use to meditate daily with. I just choose length of time based on what I know that I need in that moment. If I'm in a rush, but I know that I need to get my meditation in and ground myself, I'll listen to 5 minutes. 20 minutes is my goal for every day. Sometimes I feel like I need 30 minutes or an hour. Sometimes I only feel like I need 10. Discernment. But those are there, and all you have to do is put them on, listen to them at a low volume, close your eyes and focus. When you meditate, it's like a massage for your soul. It brings all of your energy back into your body. So often our energy is scattered outside of our body, here, there, and everywhere. And it's about bringing all of that energy back into your body, you coming back into your center and your wholeness. The YouTube channel is at Soul Growth Life, and I'll also make sure that I put the link in the episode description. Number 3, binaural beats. You already know this is one of my favorite things, my go-tos, and many of the videos on the YouTube channel have been created using binaural beats, including some of the subliminal frequency activations. So either choose one of those subliminal frequency activations, double hit because you're getting some binaural frequencies, recalibrating your system, bringing you back into an equilibrium, and also you're programming your subconscious because there's hidden affirmations in there. That's just one source. YouTube has an abundance of meditations, an abundance of binaural beats. Just type it in the search bar and find what works for you. Number 4, this is such an important thing. And whether you've done healing work or you're moving through these times, this is something that isn't spoken about enough. And it is very simply drink water. When your body is trying to process everything that's going on energetically within it and around it, it needs water to help flush that through. It needs water to help it stabilize, to help it ground. And it's something that's not spoken about enough. I can't tell you the amount of times that I have done a healing or an activation or a something and I'm not told to drink water. And it's something so basic, so simple, so important. And it's the thing that needs to be increased. Bonus, add a pinch of sea salt or Himalayan salt in there. And talking of salt, bath, shower with salt. Bath, Epsom salts are spoken about a lot. You can use those. If you don't have any Epsom salts, you don't need to go out and buy some. Just use the salt that's in your cupboard. Literally, I pour like half a bottle of table salt in my bath, sit in there 10, 20 minutes, half an hour, whatever I'm being called to. and it's like I'm being cleaned energetically, and it feels so good. More recently, I've also been pouring that salt in the palm of my hands, scrubbing my hands with the salt, pouring it on my chest and over my back. And it's the only way that I can explain it is like it's a fog lifting from my body. As you've heard me say before, just try it. Try it for yourself. And also, as I shared earlier, what works for me may not work for you. So just experiment, just try it. If you're in the shower, make little salt heaps underneath your feet and just put your feet on top of them for a couple of minutes. Salt in your hands, salt over your chest, over your back. Try it. For me, it is a game changer. And that's only something that I've been doing maybe like the past year. It's not something that I was doing as much years ago. Remember how earlier I shared with you that what works at one time may not work at another time. What you needed at one time may not be what you need later on. That is one of my examples of that. And the last thing that I want to share with you, and this is one that I haven't shared in an episode before because I only started using it last year, is magnesium. Magnesium has been something that's helped me generally in my health, but specific to what I've been sharing with you in this episode, it helps my body to feel a lot more grounded on a daily basis. There are lots of benefits to magnesium from my basic understanding, and I do not know what they all are. My approach to it was I can read about all of the benefits of magnesium, and they may be true, they may not be, they may work for me, they may not. The only way I'm going to know is to try. And that's what I did. I noticed a change in like the first couple of weeks, not only in terms of my physical body, some of like what I thought was fat shrunk, reduced, disappeared, but also just feeling more grounded, more calm, more strong, more like, yeah, I've got this. So those are my tips for taking care of your energy, for taking care of you and helping you to navigate through these times. Listen to what your body needs. Do you remember in the last episode, it was on the card that I'd pulled and it said how our bodies are always communicating with us. That. So listen to your body. It is telling you what it needs and when. Your job is to listen. So that is everything for this episode of Soul Growth. Truths no one tells you about becoming and soul growth. I wish somebody had told me all of these things way back on the beginning of my journey. But in actual fact, I don't wish that, because if I had have known, I would have done everything to not try and be on this journey and about this life, because I would have been like, no, that's too much. Don't nobody have time for all of that. But here we are. Another example of it's not just us out here. Soul speaks, and yeah. Anyway, I will see you in the next episode. Until then, big love. Mwah. Thank you for joining me on Soul Growth. There's something in this episode that was meant for you to hear. Whatever it activated within you, trust it, act on it. And remember, it's all soul growth.